Hello, niche website builders. Welcome to the niche website investing show. Mark's obviously not here again this week. I said this week. It was only yesterday that he's missed the live stream. Kind of doing him a disservice here. We've got Mike with us from Below Average Blogger. Hey, Mike.
Hey man, how's it going?
I am doing very good, thank you. And we've got our resident domain investing expert, Eleanor, with us as well. Her second appearance on the show. So, hey, Eleanor, how are you?
Good, thank you. We have two bearded people again.
I know, right? The two beard people. Eleanor needs to be in the middle and balance the beards out, I think. Right. I forgot to do this on the stream yesterday. So before I even ask you guys anything, I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping that Mark normally does. So bear with me because there's a million overlays on here. So don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The more likes that we get on the show, the more subscribers that we get, the further the reach, the more we can game YouTube's algorithm and get our reach a bit further. We're already getting several hundred views on these videos afterwards as well. So these lives are great, but there's, I think, get up to 400, 500, 600 views on these lives afterwards as well now, which is great. So the more that we can get that up, the better, and we can spread the message that we are showing. And also, don't forget that we have the building.empires.live website up now, where you can go and register for our Building Empires event. We ran the first one a couple of months back. We had 3 days of awesome guest speakers, and we are doing our second one, which we're hoping to be bigger and better and more networking opportunities and more workshops in early next year, early 2023, January. But you can get on the list now and you can start to see some of the fun, exciting things that we have planned. And finally, we never really mentioned this enough, but if you are thinking of using niche website builders as a service, grab one of the coupons that are in the description in the video, and you can get yourself 10% more content or 10% off link building. I think the vouchers in there, but if you're thinking, then grab yourself something for free. So, on to the show. Mike, how's your week going?
It is good, man. It's been a week of moving into a house, as you know, with your temporary spot, that it's very fun to have a lot of bags and boxes to unpack and figure out a home for everything. But I've done it quite a few times. So as much as I hate it, I'm used to it, and we're getting finally settled in. But every time I have a moment like this where I have to be somewhere at a certain time, it's still like this mad dash to figure out where everything is and make sure I have stuff. So glad I was able to make it and not be too last minute.
No, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for coming. And you've been traveling for how long?
Yeah, so we traveled. We sold our home in Colorado in August of last summer, and we literally took our kids in an RV and we traveled the country for a year. And we did most of the national parks and went mountain biking all over the West and hiking. And it was a really good time, a really good experience. And the kids learned a lot and got to see a lot of things that they would normally just see in their school books. They got to see it firsthand, which was very cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, such a great experience for kids. I think. How old are the kids, Mike?
They're about next month. They will turn 11 and 12. So right now they're 10 and 11.
How cool is that? Imagine going back to school and telling your friends that you've just like traveled around in an RV and done all these cool things.
Yeah, my son said a lot of times they'll do some sort of talk about a national park or a historical monument, and the teacher will say, "Has anybody seen this before?" And my son's like, "Everything they said, I kept raising my hand. I've been there, So it was fun.
Nice. He's like the know-it-all of the class now. I've seen that in real life. Yeah, I've seen one of those. I've actually touched
I have
one
to
of
tell
those.
him, don't be too much of a know-it-all. You have to kind of balance that stuff.
Awesome. Right. So let's say hello to everyone. So, hey, Carly, we've got Fami, we've got Emily here as well. We've got Thorsten, Tony, Chris, Daniel. Welcome everyone to the channel. Mike, I've been following you for quite some time on your own channel, the Below Average Blogger channel, and you put out some great content. But for some of our members who are maybe not familiar with you, do you just want to give us like a 5-minute intro of who you are, what you do, your intro and background to investing in websites, and bring us up to speed on who you are?
Sure. So my name's Mike, and I do have the YouTube channel Below Average Blogger, and I made that channel a little over 2 years ago because I had started website building fresh, just as just giving it a go. Really, I'd never done it before, and for anybody out there who's watching this, you guys all already know that's a very lonely and confusing process in the beginning. You're trying to figure out a mountain of information, and you are kind of trying things, and you're kind of leading yourself through the dark, and you don't really know what's going on. So I figured if I made a YouTube channel, even sharing the worst parts and the bad stuff, then it would be kind of an accountability for me and not let me give up so easy, because it is easy in the beginning to give up because you don't see immediate success.
Yeah.
So I figured, well, this would be a good way to share, to document, and to ultimately kind of hold myself accountable and not give up quickly. And so that's why I started the channel, not really thinking anything, but it's got a little small following now, a great group of people that consistently comment and I talk to, and some of them I've kind of talked to offline, and it's been a really good way just to share my journey and also network with other people.
That's awesome. Interesting you mentioned about keeping yourself motivated there, because we speak to so many people and we see so many people that get 6 months into their journey and don't see the instant results, or maybe being kind of missold the get rich quick, like that kind of rhetoric around investing in websites. And it's not like, is that how you kept yourself motivated with the channel? We did a live stream yesterday, which was about being enough, and one of the aspects was about motivation and keeping yourself accountable and stuff. Is that, just off topic, is that how you kept yourself motivated, just with the channel?
Yeah, well, there's two parts to that. One is the channel was strictly because I wanted just to share the growth or the failure. I just wanted something to kind of document what I was doing, because as you guys know, probably everyone in your family or friends, if they're not in this business. Am I giving feedback? Is that what's going on?
I think it's literally my cat, to be fair.
Oh, okay.
Right. I'm in the kitchen, right? And the cat is literally by the door. So.
No problem. I just want to make sure my microphone wasn't picking up something. So yeah, I two parts to it was really, I just wanted to document any success or failure, have that accountability. But on the other side of that, the reason why I was able to keep pushing through it was credit to Income School. Their YouTube channel brings a lot of new faces to this industry, and they made it very clear a couple of years ago when I first started watching that it takes time. It takes upwards of a year, 2 years to really get that full growth, that full potential, assuming you've laid the right foundation. And so had I not known that going into it, I probably absolutely would have quit at 6 months with no success.
Yeah, because it's hard to know if you're even on the right track, isn't it? 6 months in, you put all this effort in, and you're not seeing anything. Right? Am I even doing the right things? Like, it's hard then, isn't it?
Exactly. And there's no, aside from YouTube or maybe a paid course, there's really no network of peers you can say, hey man, there's no water cooler talk, right? So you can't just swing by the office of your friend and say, hey, how's your site doing? You're at month 4, what's going on? Because you're on your own. So the channel really helped where other people who not only veteran in this business but new in this business could look at my progress and either say, yeah, you're on track, just keep waiting, or no, you might want to look into this, or other new people that go, wow, I'm in the same boat as you at this month, good to see we're on similar progress. So I think it's good for everybody, new and old, just to kind of see that it's not an overnight success story, and takes a lot of work. But once you kind of get into a groove, into a rhythm with this, it's I think it's pretty rewarding and pretty fun, actually.
Yeah, definitely. And Eleanor, you're going through this journey now, right? How are you keeping yourself motivated?
Yeah, absolutely. I could definitely relate what you're saying, Mike, because I think personally, the thing that kept me going was the pure passion for the niche I was in. I wasn't seeing any results for probably about a year. So yeah, but I'm really lucky because I work in the SEO industry now. I can learn from people like Adam and Mark and other people in the team. So I can definitely relate to what you're saying. Because when I went into the SEO role, I was like, wow, this is incredible. I can get help from this. I'm learning things that I immediately spotted exactly what I was doing wrong. But not many people have this luxury to work in the industry, get paid, and do that on the side as well. But for me, I don't know about you, Mike, but for me, passion kept me going. But there were times, obviously, when you were kind of like, this is ridiculous. I've been doing this for 1 year, and I've only got like 20 visitors on my site. It's ridiculous. But yeah, what about you? Like, what kept you going apart from, just keep pushing and learning along the way with your audience on YouTube? Is it passion? Were you passionate about the niche that you were in? Like, how did that work?
I think I was one of those cases where my passion really was fueled by wanting personal freedom. And I think you have to be in a position where something is your driving force, whether that's like you love your niche, or like me, I just love the idea of being able to build something on my own and have some sort of job or financial freedom from the typical grind of 9 to 5. I spent many years working for the government, and that's 50, 60 hours a week, high stress, low pay. And it's like, what am I doing? This is my life. This is what I do for the next 50 years. So I just kind of got where I was in a position where I was like, you know what? I'm very motivated to make something work and put in the time and take the effort and try to build something. Even if I fail, I have to give it the shot. I have to try. So that was really my driving force. And then it evolved really into, I kind of love keyword research and SEO. It's like a treasure hunt to me. It's very fun. I think maybe that's the nerdy side of me that most people can't relate with, but I really like doing it.
It's really interesting to mention that. Ellen was literally saying keyword research is her favorite part of what she does.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I think it's the nerdy bit that comes in.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think there's two groups of people who, or what keeps people motivated. There's two groups of people. There's ones like you, Ellen, who started in a niche that they're really passionate about, and they love working on the site because it's in a space they love. And then I fall into the camp with Mike, where I don't really. When I was starting out, I didn't really care what niche I was in at all. In fact, the first site I bought was about something I literally knew nothing about. And I didn't care. It was all about the money and the financial freedom and what it could give. And it's still the same for me now, even though I've got the luxury of being able to pick different niches now, even based on passion. I still don't care what space I'm in as long as it makes money. And I think people may start out sometimes with working on the passion project, but when you get to the point where you are scaling and outsourcing, I think that becomes less of a thing then.
Absolutely. Like if you think about, for example, writing your own articles. Now, I can for sure build a beautiful article with tons of resources, super in depth if I'm passionate about the hobby or the niche. But the reality is, once you start scaling, you're putting out so much content, doing so much research, and making so many things at once. It's not feasible to have a passion project at that point. You're in a growth phase. And so I've kind of my first niche was a passion. It was back traveling, RVs, hiking outdoors. And that is a passion. But 6 months in, you need volume. You need lots of content. And so passion to the side, we need to make money.
Exactly. I think Percy, my cat, is stealing the show here. All the comments are...
He's quite a handsome guy. Or girl, I'm not sure.
It's a little boy called Percy, named from Thomas the Tank Engine. My little boy loves Thomas. He just wanted to call him Percy. Yeah, and he's got a little coat and things. So,
well, he's definitely showed up looking better than me today. So good for him.
Well, since we all love keyword research, Mike, I know that when I was talking to you prior, you said you basically take a little bit of different methods, little bits from here and there, mash them all together, and come up with your own kind of different ways of doing it. How do you approach keyword research? I'll leave it open.
Sure. So, I mean, really, I could do hours on this topic because it's just something that's always evolving. There's no one rule that works every single time. And I think one problem a lot of people fall into is they hear on a YouTube video or an article or from a peer, hey, this method is how you rank. And they focus on it. And that may work for some things, but it will never work for everything. And it will never work forever. So I spend a lot of time listening and learning and reading from what people are doing that's working for them, kind of taking my own experiences, what's worked for me, and kind of working through each one independently. And then sometimes I will use, for example, if I find a keyword and one thing I should probably we should all preface is I don't feel like anyone's invented the wheel with keyword research. We're all just kind of pushing the same wheel at the same time, trying different things that works because I saw something recently on Twitter, and if you guys aren't on Twitter, the SEO community on Twitter is very interesting. There's there's obviously a lot of nonsense affiliate, but there's also a lot of good information that gets passed around. And somebody brought up a new idea yesterday, and on face value, it would sound like your tomb rating method, but it's a little tweak off of tomb rating that works very well, and we can go into that later. But so I like to start with the basics of looking at people also ask, doing the Google ABC method, and just manual, old school, like getting in there and finding holes. And the reason why I still think that will work forever is because paid tools are learning, right? So they're learning just like Google's learning every month. They're adding new keywords to their database. They're adding new search volume to their database. But as industries grow and niches grow new products and ideas and problems around ideas, then those new queries get uploaded every single day to Google, and Google learns those. So the quicker you can find those before the paid tools and the agencies, and then you really have a head up. And so what I like to do is just start with manual ABC autocorrect. I mean, the autocomplete, and just working through those. And then you looking at people also ask below those, looking for low hanging fruit where there's maybe a Reddit post in the first page. Just those quick wins when you're a no domain site. That's really like where I like to start at a base level.
And I saw your video recently where you talk about you just ignore search volume sometimes as well, right?
Yes, I do.
Not even a factor, is it? Sometimes.
In the beginning, I heard so many people talk about, at least 50 search volume so it's worth your time. And that may be true in certain areas, but I found a lot of early success with new keywords that had no volume yet. Now they've grown as the tools and Google have learned there's more interest and things grow. But in the beginning, it can be a really good way to find something new that people aren't seeing in their paid tools, that you can just kind of steal that position. Maybe not forever, but for a while you can have it.
Yeah, and we did a case study a while back, and I'm just going to pull it up here about zero search volume keywords because it was really interesting, and we did like a little quiz where it was I remember now, it was the weirdest things about. Okay, so I'm going to give you a question, a keyword, and you've got to tell me, Mike, if you think it's got search volume or not. And it is. Same for you, Emma, as well.
I did that last time, though, Adam. I did it last
time. Okay. So, do fighter pilots get hemorrhoids?
Yes.
According to Ahrefs or SEMrush, there's no search volume at all. But we found it in a people also ask box, included in the article. And then when we started looking at Search Console, that term when we did the case study in the last 30 days, it had 181 impressions. Like, that to me, it doesn't mean 181 people are searching for it, but variations of that, at least 180 people have been searching for that. But it's not even in the Ahrefs database. You put that keyword in there, I think, if I remember rightly, and I don't even think it's there. Or if it's there, it's like zero search volume. So
right, it'll be one of their results that has no data associated with it. Kind of, they don't know, but they know it exists type deal. Yeah. And I love those keywords to a point, right? So I'll see those keywords, and sometimes they don't make sense, or you can kind of tell with a quick Google search that this is probably not the right keyword to go for. But many times those random keywords that you would think are ridiculous or silly often can bring very good results.
Especially if you cluster them together, like the research we've been working on for your age of domain recently, like we're clustering some of those kinds of questions together where they might not have a ton of people searching. According to the tools, they might not have any, but we know they've probably got some because they're in Google Auto Suggest or they're in people also asked. But if you cluster them together, that one term might be getting 200 searches a month. But if you cluster 5 or 6 together, you now got 1,000, 1,500 searches a month, which is a decent keyword as if it's a single keyword,
Absolutely. Yeah. And in the beginning, I didn't even understand that. So I would target a keyword phrase with zero search volume, maybe an informational query like how to do something. And it would have zero search volume. And over time, it would end up in many cases with over 1,000 organics. It would be a really good keyword, but I didn't realize at the time as I was learning that you also rank for many other variations of a keyword. And ultimately those can aggregate a lot of really good results. In the beginning, I just thought these zero volume keywords were getting me 4,000 clicks. I didn't realize, but either way, that's a great starting point to grow on those variations you didn't even know were ranking.
Exactly. And I think I also heard that you also look in Google Search Console for these opportunities, right? Like you use existing data. Yeah. How do you do that? Because it's something I've not done a ton of and I would love to do more of. So how do you do that?
Sure. So there's 2 ways that I did it. Well, there's the way I started, which is what I saw, another SEO talking about on Twitter, and it turned out to be really good, which was taking some of your top performing pages, taking that query. So you can go into Search Console and you can filter by the URL, the page, and then you can see the associated queries with that page that are ranking. And what I like to do is take all those queries that have high impressions, but maybe are ranking outside of page 1. So if it's got high impressions, it's something people are searching for, but I'm not ranking for it. I try to add those queries more naturally into my content to hopefully boost that overall, keyword cluster in that article. But then just a week or 2 ago, there's a there's an SEO out there who created a beta plugin, and what it does is it allows you to host your own cloud Google Search Console API, and you can install that plugin, and it'll tell you at the bottom of your post, this page is ranking for, it takes all your Google Search Console data, but it'll just basically filter for you all the times you're ranking for a keyword that you didn't even mention in that article that has high impressions. And then you can go back in yourself and then manually put that information in your article. And I've been doing a little just over the last 2 weeks testing with it, and it's already starting to grow those average positions for those articles. So it's fantastic.
What's the plugin called? Is it open to everyone, or is it just?
It's actually it's free right now. It's one of those things you can donate if you want to, but it's called Query Hunter.
Okay.
And I believe it's from the owner of another agency out there, and he just let it go on his Twitter feed. But I think he's going to be at some point putting it on a marketplace or selling it. But right now he's just kind of testing and letting people play with it, and a lot of the feedback has been really good.
Sounds like an awesome tool, yeah. Because it's sometimes a bit fiddly to go into Search Console. And do you, for the queries that are in Search Console, are you pulling out, like, for example, question-based queries and then adding them at the bottom like an FAQ, or are you trying to just naturally add them into the existing content? How are you updating it that way?
Yeah, so if it's a query that I can fit into an FAQ, I will add an FAQ section at the bottom and just kind of make an overall FAQ for this topic. But if it's maybe a variation of the keyword, so for example, if it's webcams and I'm talking about a certain webcam, but I'm also ranking for a high impression keyword about that webcam that I didn't discuss, I will take that and try to find a place to naturally put it in the article. And so if I'm talking about webcam ABC and I'm ranking for a high impression query for that article that I didn't use, and that query would be like, webcam ABC versus webcam DEF, then I'll take that and throw a blip in the article about how this compares to that webcam. I just try to take whatever I'm ranking for and not writing about and making sure I actually mention it, discuss it, and then hopefully move myself up in the SERPs because I've now tackled that portion of the keyword too.
I mean, it's early days, but this sounds like a new service for us right here, to be fair.
Well, I was going to actually share this with you because I think it's something, again, it's one of those new things that no one's really tackled yet. And I think it actually opens up a really new, interesting way to find some holes in your content and your keywords.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm going to give that a try. Chris has kindly put the link in the comments there. So if anybody is looking for that, then follow the link. Ellen, have you done anything with the Search Console data? Do you ever go through there or?
Not really, no. I just go in to check. Like typically, I tend to check the schema results on my sites. Yeah. I'm in the food niche, but I should be playing around more, and that sounds very interesting. I'll definitely need to check it out.
Thanks. It's a very interesting tool, and I think when you do kind of play with it, you kind of opens your eyes up to, wow, I had these opportunities I didn't even know were right there. It's another way just to find some easy wins,
Yeah, and it sounds like you don't need to add a ton of new content, right? It sounds like you can just add paragraphs here and there.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you ever take one of those queries and make it like a standalone kind of piece of content, or do you always just put them into your existing piece of content?
That's a really good angle that I didn't even consider, because when I learned about this plugin and how to use it, I kind of just focused on that, finding those no-click, high impression queries, putting them into my content to make sure I can start ranking for them. But if it's a high enough impression query, so say maybe it's got 5,000 or more impressions and I haven't even written about it, but I'm ranking for it, then maybe I should take that and make it a whole standalone piece of content. But at this point, I've been trying to just beef up existing content, because there's some of my articles that I'm just now learning, now that I've had a site over 2 years, that they need to be updated, these content. And so instead of buying a bunch of new content now, I'm trying to go back and optimize older content. And I'm using this tactic now to raise my overall, hopefully, SERP positions with bolstering the content from this method.
You're going to put out a video on the results, Mike, because
I am. I'm actually I'm checking all the time and looking at how things are moving, and I really want to kind of share this, but I want to make sure it's not a disaster first. So we'll see.
For sure.
But I share disasters too. If you guys want to watch those, I have those.
I mean, Chris has put your link up there. I mean, it's horrible. can't really copy and paste that, but it's easy to find. You just type in blowout.
Yeah, I have a very SEO friendly name on my YouTube channel.
I think Chris just made that up by the looks of it. I don't even know if that's right.
Chris fell asleep when he was typing my URL.
Sounds like looks like a cat walked across the keyboard, maybe. We mentioned Tomb Raider there, and I think I remember you saying you tried it out, like our Tomb Raider. I say our Tomb Raider method. Like you said, we didn't invent Tomb Raiding. It's just we just systemized a methodology and put a name on it, like most people do. You've tried it out? Have you tried it out?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time doing it now, actually, because I've been finding very quick wins with it. I had always heard when I was coming up and blogging that you got to be careful with you revealing your URL or your keywords because competitors could steal it. And I didn't really fully grasp how or why. I thought, what are they going to do? Copy my sitemap and just make all the articles over? I didn't really know what they were talking about. But now that I'm hunting other people's content, I can see how when you find these sites and these competitors, yeah, I pop them into Ahrefs and I look at their top performing pages and I go to town on that stuff. So, I actually, speaking of that tomb raiding method, I just saw someone on Twitter post kind of a hack that works hand in hand with tomb raiding. And so we use tools where we can find, like, say, for example, keyword chef, right? So you have the ability to put in your keyword and you can find out where there's holes in the SERP, whether it be from a Reddit post or a low domain site. And this kind of reverse engineers that whole thing and lets you use it through a tool like Ahrefs. So for example, I can go into Ahrefs, go to Site Explorer, type in reddit.com, and it'll give me all of Reddit's top pages, which we know is millions. It's just ridiculous amount of content. But what you can do is you can filter keywords of your niche's seed keyword and then filter volume. So it's something that has some volume to it. And then you'll get a list of Reddit's top pages that are ranking in the top 1 to 3 positions with just your niche relevant content. And so I'll go in there, type in Reddit, type in, my niches, type in positions, maybe 1 to 3, 1 to 5, 1 to 10, and then just take all that easy target content from the front page of Google and just make articles for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. We've done that with we've done that not a lot, but done it with, like, if we talk, we've done it like in the pet space, for example. If we are looking at specialist like reptiles, for example, if there's like a specific type of fish that we're doing and we can't really find or a search volume, if we can find a fish forum and we can find questions that people are asking in the forum, similar to what you just said there through Ahrefs, works really well because they're questions that they don't have a ton of search volume usually, or they can do, but most of these long tail questions don't. But that actual people are searching for them because they're on a forum. Somebody's gone and created that post. It's a problem they have or a question they can't find an answer somewhere else. That's why they're writing it there.
Absolutely. And there's another tweak on Reddit and Ahrefs or whatever keyword tool you have. And that is basically, so a lot of people search these days whatever they're looking into, a product or a service or a niche, and then they also search the word Reddit because they want to see what regular people are saying about this information. So they might, in my grilling niche, they might say best grill Reddit. They might search that term, and then depending on the topic or the thing, there might be a strong Reddit presence for that. And I've seen people take content and or turn that into content. Maybe make an article that says Redditors have a big problem with this Weber grill. Here's why. And so they get that search query of Weber grill Reddit, but then they can turn it into a ranking result because they're using that same keyword, using some authority with it, and they're able to discuss all the problems people have on Reddit with this grill. But it's you're kind of cannibalizing Reddit's user-generated content and turning it into your own article. That's
awesome. Talking about grilling, and I know you're in the grilling space, that was my first website that I ever had, the one which I said I knew nothing about. And I don't know if you've done this, but I had really big success. The audience is really passionate. I joined a load of Facebook groups, and I'd go in there, I'd make polls and ask them, what their favorite flavor of wood would be for different types of foods. I'd ask them, can I use their images or what their favorite recipes were, or what 10 top features they like about a certain grill, and then you can use that content and you can turn those into posts. And I guess it's a more hands-on version of Reddit, really, where you go and look asking the questions rather than reactively looking on Reddit. But have you ever done that? Have you ever gone in and asked people for images and I've done polls and stuff in Facebook groups or social media?
So I haven't done that, and I should do it from a member standpoint. What I did when I first created my site was I created like a group page on Facebook that I was gonna, in my own delusional mind, manage and grow, which is this whole
Yeah.
other beast that I just eventually let go because I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I should have done it that route. I should have just been a quiet member and just posted questions and queries and learned from them. And so I might actually do that now. What I did originally was try to recreate the wheel with a grilling Facebook page, and that was between comments and spam and drama, and I wasn't into it at all.
Yeah. No, through those groups, I wasn't just posting, like asking questions all the time. I was posting useful information when I was doing my research because I was writing all the content at the same time. And a grilling company saw that stuff and reached out and was like, "Hey, we've seen you in the Facebook group. We know you've got a website. Can we send you a grill to you actually review it?" And I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" I remember telling my wife, "Oh, we're getting a grill, like an actual smoker, because we don't really have them in the UK." And then I was like, "Yeah," sent them my address, and we're in the UK. We won't send it to the UK. So, oh no!
I just had a company email me last week or 2 weeks ago, and they had found a lot of my content clustered around their topic, and I rank up for page 1 for a lot of their items. And they said, "Hey, is there anything you want to review or test?" And I was like, "Well, you do have this very nice new grill." And they're like, "Got it. It's on." So it's actually on its way right now, which is fantastic.
That's amazing. Yeah, these are the perks of working in this kind of space, right?
Yeah. Well, in fairness, I sent them quite a bit of affiliate commission, or sent them quite a few sales this year. That's probably why they started to notice. But nonetheless, a free grill is a free grill. So.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Got a couple of questions here. So, not questions. Naomi says we've briefly dabbled with Reddit for keyword research before, and this is a really cool method to try. So, just for clarity, Naomi heads up our keyword research team at Niche Website Builders. So, yeah, it was great that she's going to start testing this stuff and looking into your method, Mike.
Yeah, I was also looking, when I do keyword research for my own site, I really, really very often come across the keyword and then something questioned in Reddit, which means people are specifically looking to get to Reddit. I never really knew how to use that, and now this is giving me really good idea. Yeah, so thank you.
When I saw, it was actually a big publication, so it was like maybe, I don't know, Vox Media or one of the big boutique media companies that has a lot of web content in really random spaces. They had made an article about, Redditors really hate Pizza Hut. Here's why. And I was thinking, wow, if you had like a pizza blog or something related to these topics, you could take these queries where Redditors talk a lot about something and turn that into its a whole piece of content. And in theory, steal that keyword query that people are using when they want to just access that Reddit content. You can kind of give a rundown. Hey, instead of going through all their messages, here's the beef with this thing, according to Redditors, and here's what we recommend, or whatever you want to do with the content.
Give me your Reddit TLDR at the top, right?
That's right. Exactly.
Awesome. Right. So the second half of the show is Eleanor tearing down some age domains for us. But Mike, I know we're working on an age domain project, so I think this would be a cool segue into that. What's your experience been with? It's the first age domain you've built on, I believe, right?
Yeah, first one I've ever done, and I actually only learned about it through watching, you guys and some other people in the space talking about it, and I thought, seemed like a good idea, but really, in this business, you kind of have to put money out there and really hope things work. Nothing's guaranteed in this business, so I did it thinking I'll give it a shot, I'll give it an honest go, and I've been really happy with the results so far. And frankly, it makes you start thinking, okay, well, from here on out, I should probably just start with an age domain and kind of bypass a lot of early frustrations.
Yeah, we hear a lot of people say that. A lot of people say once you've started with an age domain, it's really hard to go back and wait on a fresh domain, typically. Yeah. You've seen what's possible.
Unless you find a really underserved area and you start ranking very quickly, the majority of things are fairly saturated, and you're going to have to wait and grind, and it's a good way to bypass a lot of that.
Plus, you're also at least somewhat out of that tomb raiding danger as well, right? If you start with a DR 20 or 25 or 30, you're not one of those DR2 or DR3 sites where people are going to say, hey, they're doing really good with their content. What are they doing?
Dude, I My grilling site, when I started it, was in an underserved area. And I was like, oh, I'm a genius. Look what I figured out. I'm ranking, I'm page one, I'm thousands of visitors in a few months. And I was like thinking I was just really smart. In reality, I had no competition. And soon the big people were like, hey, who's this little dude? And I'm noticing just competition everywhere now, but it's part of the game. So I get it.
Yeah. I just got to keep going, right? Keep
Yep.
moving on.
And with H domain, I think that I know that there's a big chunk of initial investment to get an H domain, but I feel like in the long term you are actually saving money, because remember, like, you don't have to worry about building links or investing in that sort of thing. You have already some authority, and sometimes you get really good H domains with really kind of rare, kind of impossible links that are either really expensive or it takes you a long time to get through Haro or through any payment kind of thing. So I feel like with H domains in the long term, you are saving money. This is just my opinion. So
No, you're absolutely right. And we live in a society where we trade our time for our money all the time. And the reality is, you're going to spend countless hours that first year looking things up, trying to grow, trying to create this out of thin air, when you can kind of skip a lot of that early frustration and time that you're trading for money. So ultimately, and like you said, the backlinks, if you really look into how to get some DR 80, 90 niche relevant backlinks, that's also going to cost you a lot of time and money too. So there's definitely a value, and I think you're right to an extent that it is a time and money. It's definitely a time saver, but it's also a money saver too.
We talked recently, Mike, about Haro and Haro campaigns, and you can get those kinds of links for them, but our pitch to link success rate, depending on the niche we're in, is like between 2 and 4%. Like, who wants to sit there and write 100 pitches in the hope of getting 2 links? Like,
Well,
it's hard work and
and
time consuming.
absolutely. And you have to monitor those emails every time they come in. Look for, think of a piece of content to send them as a pitch, or an idea to send them as a pitch. And if you really did that to the tune of 100 or more, or 200 in a month or two, like you need to get a decent return. I mean, that would be a full-time job in itself, which most of us don't have time for.
No, or buy an age domain which already has them. Problem solved.
Exactly.
exactly.
Awesome. Well, Eleanor's going to do some age domain teardowns for us now.
Okay.
One of them's really exciting. Like, I'm in an hour about keeping this one for ourselves because we actually really liked it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody wants to pick up the one that Ellen's going to cover, then I'd be more than happy to be involved in the project. Like, I don't really get involved much in client projects. My job has evolved from the business now, from being hands-on in most projects. But I like this one so much, I would be happy to get involved. So if anybody wants it, it's on our website. Go and get it, and then Eleanor's going to be involved anyway, but I'll personally get involved as well.
Your age domain inventory is part of my weekly checks. I mean, I'm always in that thing looking at it.
Love it.
Eleanor, go for it. Over to you.
I'm gonna start with the most exciting one because, as Adam said, this is a one I personally like very much as well. So as you can see, the niche is movies slash films, 10 years old, and it has some really, really quality backlinks. DR15, it's kind of shame because when we picked up this H domain, it was DR20, and now suddenly it's gone to DR15. But nevertheless, we've got some amazing backlinks, and I just can't wait to dive into it. So I'm going to share my screen now, and I will begin. Okay, so I'm just going to jump into the backlinks again, just so I can kind of show you in more kind of close up. So we have BuzzFeed, we have a couple of Wikipedia, and we have IMDb, and we have Rotten Tomatoes. So as I said, the niche is film, movies, etc. So these are extremely kind of high authority, niche relevant kind of backlinks that are really, really hard to get. So this is already a great starting point, in my opinion. And then we have some more quality backlinks at the bottom, movie tickets, more niche relevant. Really, like, the backlink profile is, for me, is outstanding. It's fabulous. And very, very good backlink profile. And now I'm going to jump into the anchor text profile. Now, because the niche is films, etc., we have, at the very top, we have The Martian, which is a film. But then we have a branded anchor text, which is perfect. This is kind of what we typically expect on a natural looking anchor text profile. But as you go down, you see more kind of movies, and you see kind of a naked anchor text and reviews, etc. But considering, for me, this is a pretty decent looking anchor text profile. And for me, there's really nothing much to worry about. And then moving into the best by links kind of pages, with H domain specifically, there's always like kind of a cleanup process involved. And in this case, what we're seeing is that the majority of backlinks are actually pointed towards internal pages. I will go into the history of what this site exactly did, but to summarize it briefly, this site used to do kind of movie reviews. And as we're seeing here, a lot of the internal pages that have some backlinks pointed to them are movie reviews. Hotel Transylvania, a scary movie, Taken 2, etc. So what we will need to do is we will need to recreate these pages so that we can reserve the authority of the website. There's going to be quite a lot of recreations, but at the end of the day, our plan for this domain is to do movie reviews anyway, so it shouldn't be really too much of a hassle to do that. And here's what the site kind of looked. So it was reviews, A to Z, rating systems, top 10 list, about, contact, etc. And it basically was just kind of giving you the stars of the certain movies. And they didn't just stop to movie reviews, they also had a news feed. And as we're seeing here, Michael Moore on Harvey Weinstein scandal, and just kind of movie-related news as well as movie reviews. Kind of really simple, mission, straightforward domain. I have clicked on one of the reviews just to show you kind of what it looks like. And it's kind of like just kind of summarize the movie. And when you scroll down, it kind of has like the release and the studio, director, screenwriters, etc. Very kind of basic. I feel like we can do a lot more to really kind of make this stand out. So I'm going to jump into the plan. Now, first, I would like to begin with how much the movie industry is worth, and it's worth $91 billion. And obviously, this is not in websites, but it's the whole industry as a whole. And when there's so much money into a certain industry, that means there's a huge interest. And typically, when there is interest, there's always questions and people looking to explore or learn different things about this specific industry. And this is where we come in with a site. And the thing, at least with today's times, is that people are typically very limited in time. They just want to sit down and put a movie on and enjoy. Nobody has 2 hours and a half to waste if the movie's, crap. So this is where movie reviews come into play. And this is where I feel like there's a big market for it. So here is kind of what the plan is. Obviously, to begin with, we will need to begin with kind of movie reviews, because remember, we have quite a lot of pages to recreate. So this is where we need to start first. But I don't want to just limit ourselves to kind of reviews and leave it at that. I want to make sure that this is a site that is everything movie related. Come to this place, you get everything movie related. And that is why I have put together kind of informational articles on movies, from how the movies are made, how certain scenes are shot, to how to acting, actors, how to become an actor, everything to do with movies as much as possible, so that we can become potentially an authority within the space. So round posts, 20 best sharks, etc., 10 best comedy movies. There is so much you can do in this specific section here, because you can do 10 best comedies movies of 2021, but you could do 10 of the best 2022, or 10 of the best kind of old-fashioned comedy movies. There's so many areas you could kind of split this into, that the content for me is kind of unlimited. And individual movie reviews will come into play, because this could create an extremely powerful kind of internal linking structure. And for those of you that don't know the value of internal linking, I really kind of recommend that you go back to our channel and check one of the Adam and Mark's live streams talking about the importance of internal linking. And we also have an internal linking service that you can check out if you want. But anyway, this can become very powerful, because typically when we do kind of roundup posts, we link to other websites. This especially is very popular with recipes. We link to other websites, and we don't really, because we don't have our recipes written and we don't really create the recipes. But here we can create an absolute internal linking, fabulous internal linking structure, because we will have, for example, individual movie review on one comedy movie. And then when we come to do the best comedy movies roundup post, we'll internally link those individual pages into that roundup post to make kind of a really strong internal linking structure. The monetization can come from affiliate partnership with things like Hulu, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, Netflix, etc. I thought this is great because For example, let's say a colleague at work says, "Hey, you should watch that movie. It's great." And I come back at home and I Google the movie and say, "Is this movie good?" I check the review, and let's say it has 5 stars, and I'm like, "Okay, great, I'm convinced." And then I feel like within those roundup posts, we should have some content that says where to watch this movie. And this is where we can monetize. Because, for example, if I'm sitting down and really want to watch this movie and it's great, and it tells me you can watch it on Apple TV, and I'm like, well, I don't have Apple TV, but I really want to watch the movie. And this is where I can sign up using whatever we have, affiliate links, and this is where we can make kind of money from this. And I feel like this is good because I have personally done this. I didn't have Apple TV up until recently, and I signed up for this particular purpose because I wanted to watch a certain movie, or was it a TV show? I can't remember now. But yeah, I feel like this is a great way to monetize.
I actually did that last night. There was a new show I wanted to see, and I didn't know where I could stream it, and so I had to find someone's blog who said you could watch it on this, and then I hit their link, and I watched some service that I had never watched before. So it definitely does work.
Okay, that's great. And one thing I'll tell you that I really hate is when I have to scrape the whole internet to find where I can watch something. Does that make sense? Have you ever done this? Like, I really want to watch a TV show, probably that's 10 years old, and I'm looking to find where can I watch it. And I feel like if we have the roundup posts for the 10 of the best comedy movies ever, we can put them individually where you can watch them, which is a 1-1. The person comes in and they take everything they need from your post. So I think this can become really kind of powerful kind of post as well. But anyway, I'm going to move on to the first competitor that I have found, and it's ifilmthings.com. It's a DR15, so just like us, we are DR15, and this one is DR15. I just want to point out quickly that SEMrush is showing much more traffic than Ahrefs. So 26 on Ahrefs, 30, nearly 37 on SEMrush, which is funny. But nevertheless, Ahrefs and SEMrush typically underestimate traffic anyway. Realistically, this traffic, if checked on the Google Analytics, is probably, I don't know, probably about 40,000 or something. But yeah, I felt that this is a good competitor, and I want to jump into their best performing content and see if we can tomb raid these people. So here's what they're covering. Something really interesting. Who Killed Mr. Krabs, bless him, is getting 19,000 search volume. And this is interesting because this is like what I was talking about earlier about becoming kind of the movie film authority, where we do reviews of movies, but we also answer movie related kind of questions, if that makes sense. And I think Who Killed Mr. Krabs is a great example because first and foremost, it's an extremely high amount of volume, and it's informational pieces of content that this is a standalone post about Who Killed Mr. Krabs, and these guys are getting 2,500 traffic, and they're only position number 7. So I thought this was really interesting.
The other thing that's awesome is they've only got 3 referring domains to that page. Typically,
yes,
with a keyword that's got 20,000 searches per month, typically you probably need more backlinks to that one page.
Yes, and let me check the backlinks. Oh yeah, okay, they're fairly good. They could be scrapers, maybe not, but yeah, I totally agree with you. With only 3 backlinks, they're ranking position number 7 for 19,000. I totally agree with you, Adam. That is already a very good sign, really. And again, this falls into Shrek Disney, quite a high volume again, and again, only 3 backlinks. And this is informational pieces of content about movies that I really like. And if you remember, we had a backlink from Rotten Tomatoes, and I feel like this falls nicely into another kind of roundup post we could do about highest and lowest, the middle rated, if you like, films on Rotten Tomatoes or other kind of big websites that rate movies as well, well-known websites. And yeah, and there are a couple of more links, pieces of content and keywords. But I feel that this is a great kind of starting point and a site I think that we should definitely do, right? So yeah, I thought this was a great example. And I will move on to the second one.
I don't know if you noticed in there, you probably did, but also in their URLs, their top pages there. So like down at the bottom where it says DaVinci Resolve System Requirements, that's a video editing software. And so it looks like they've got informational content around maybe some audio and video editing tools or tools, something in that manner where you could probably have some good affiliate opportunities as well.
That is a good point, actually. Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely, this could fall into, I don't know. This could fall into our movie and kind of filmmaking potentially. I
Hmm.
don't know the movie industry very well, but yeah, I
You
like
could
this. Definitely
you could
agree.
potentially also, once you've covered the films, you could also move into the like home cinema space as well. Then, like
Oh
you've got
yeah,
the
Yes.
films,
Yep.
yeah.
that's a very good space to be in too.
That is a good point. Yeah. As I said, like that is why I just absolutely love this domain. I just want it for myself. Anyway, you can take it, guys. Yeah. So the second domain I want to show you is movietheaterprices.com. And I thought this was another very, very good example. It's slightly higher authority than the cinemixstate.com, but it's generating pretty decent amount of traffic considering it's not a DR70 or whatever. It's a pretty average, relatively low kind of authority. So here's what they're covering. First and foremost, they only have 187 posts and they're generating 100,000 plus traffic according to Ahrefs. So this is already telling me that's great, but they're targeting really interesting types of content. Here's what they're doing. Movie ticket prices. And if you have kind of seen what I on the previous HTMLs that I was covering about kind of food places and run the post on X restaurants in X place, we could do movie ticket prices in X city, or another types of roundup posts we could do. How much are movie tickets in certain places, and we have, I think there was one here. Movie theater popcorn. We can really dive deep into the the movie space with all sorts of, from popcorn to is Mr. Krabs dead? How did he die? It's so much that we could cover, and this one is doing really interesting things. It's primarily targeting, as you can see here, Sarmike cinemas prices, specific cinemas, movie theater popcorn calories. Just different theaters and cinemas kind of prices and menus and interesting types of content that I feel like we could potentially explore. And these guys are specifically doing that, and they're generating quite a nice chunk of traffic. So why not? Is my kind of suggestion here. And they only have 187 posts, really. So
We saw
yeah,
something in it was in I think it was the baseball stadium space where we saw informational based content around the menus they have, what drinks they serve, what food they serve. So
yeah,
as well as ticket prices, I'm sure we could look at. I saw one in there which was about concessions, but I'm sure people want to know what kind of drinks they are, how much
yes, yes,
how much drinks and how much popcorn costs in
yes.
specific theatre chains and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can do also dietary stuff. For example, do they offer vegan options at this theater? Is there,
Yeah.
whatever. We could really delve into and add more value, as probably these people haven't covered that. But anyway, this is really going deep. But I love this. I feel like this is something we should do. And then finally is endlesspopcorn.com. As you can see, it's barely any authority. We're
It's a
15.
great domain name.
Yeah, I know. Endless popcorn, because you always eat so much popcorn when you go to see movies. But yeah, as you can see, barely any authority, generating 50,000 according to Ahrefs. So fabulous, just fabulous. And the content they're covering is very, very interesting. Let's take a look. They do interesting types of content like movies in order, which I thought was excellent
Yes.
because we fall again into roundup posts, but different types of roundup posts. Narnia movies in order, Bjorn movies in order, Shrek movies in order, Tom Holland Spider-Man, and look at the volume, guys. Come on, and
I never would have never have thought of doing movies in
yeah,
order. To be
yeah,
Me
fair,
either.
come on, like position number 8, only one backlink, which is probably a scraper, whatever.
yeah.
And I was just super impressed. I just couldn't hold my excitement. I just wanted to buy the domain.
Also,
um,
like what
If you
movies like as well.
yeah,
Yeah, if
movies
you
like.
have like a shiny object syndrome or you are easily
Oh no, it's dangerous.
distracted, these live streams are terrible because I'm sitting here thinking like, oh my gosh, there's so many opportunities out here.
I know it's really bad because because I go through many H domains on a weekly basis, and oh my god, you have to have a serious kind of restraint.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
my whole bank was gonna go empty and just buy domains. Anyway, I thought this was excellent because this is just beautiful. And remember, the authority is nothing really. Uh,
These, also, just these streams as well, like you say, they give you a bit of a shiny object syndrome, but they also should give you ideas for other space. Like Leanne's just commented saying the order thing, content thing is great in the book world too. I'm sure there must be other niches out there where you can look at this kind of stuff and think, oh my God, I would have never have thought of the order of something being a
Yeah.
keyword that you can go and look at.
Yeah. No, I think it's perfect. Whatever. Yeah. And I think Leanne is right, because I think this can be applied easily for different niches, which I actually haven't thought about. Thanks. Thanks for the idea. But yeah, and then again, as you mentioned, Adam, movies like Star Wars, movies or TV shows like Star Trek. It's, as I said earlier, this is endless content that can be done. And just look at the volumes quickly. Just this is crazy, guys. 31,000 here. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But
And
anyway,
this is a DR 3.8.
3.8 popcorn. Yep.
Wow, they're doing
3.8.
really well. They did a good job with their content ideas.
Yeah, they did. And we're going to just come in and Tomb Raider.
I borderline feel bad for them, but I do it every
Me
day.
too.
So.
If you're watching, the owner of Endless Popcorn, I'm really sorry. But yeah, this is the end of this first batch. And I'm going to show a second domain, which is unfortunately slightly less exciting, but I will make it exciting. And it's Paleo by Melio, already a beautiful rhyme there. For those folks that are not familiar with the paleo is a type of diet. So paleo diet is basically a type of diet where it takes us back to our primitive years. So eat like a hunter-gatherer, eat like we did in the caveman years. And this domain is quite a pretty decent authority, I would say. DR24, we have some decent backlinks in there as well. It's 5 years old. So yeah, I'm gonna go and do that as well. Okay, let me just find where I am. All right, Paleo by Melio, DR24, and I'm gonna jump into the backlink straight away. Okay, so we have Romper, we have my subscription at Gibson.com, and the reason why I take this great link is because this site, this domain used to have basically be a kind of an e-commerce site, and it had subscription boxes. So in my opinion, this is a great backlink. Swagger Magazine and a couple of more. But considering that they're only 84.
Do you happen to know what happened to this as a business? Do you know?
Well, this was the site. Sorry, everything needs to load again. It's
like
really
my
hard to tell why certain domains expire. It's really hard, to be honest. I can't give you the answer because I just don't know. For some reason, this site just expires. And often I ask myself this question as well. Why? But it's hard really to find out, to be honest. At least from experience. Yeah.
Okay.
We've seen, sometimes, not it's not very often, but they'll put up, especially if it's like an e-commerce store, they'll put up like a page which says the business is closing down or we're no longer trading. But I've also seen other ones where you Google the people on the About Us page. I remember one quite specifically. It was a husband-wife team. They ran a fitness company together, and Googled the owners of it, and it turns out the business got closed down because they divorced.
Okay.
I think it can close down the business. I can see this one looks like it was closing down in around 2020, 2021 when COVID was happening. It's a subscription box.
Yeah.
They used to do subscription boxes. You wonder, like, is subscription boxes, was that the first thing that got cut if people lost their income or lost their jobs due to COVID or, all kinds of things like that, I guess.
Well, we can speculate. That's the thing. Unless there is a specific, they haven't announced something specifically. There's a lot that we can speculate. But I feel like you might be right. Because I noticed a lot of travel sites, specifically travel domains, expire their own COVID when COVID happened. And I definitely blame it on, that's probably because of COVID. So sometimes you could tell, sometimes you can't. But
sure.
But yeah, I'm jumping to the anchor text profile quickly. And straight away, we have branded, so I'm happy with this. And yeah, we have a generic, we have more generic and other stuff. But for me, this is again pretty decent anchor text profile. And the cleanup kind of part of this H domain is pretty neat. It wouldn't require much cleanup at all. Paleo subscription boxes. This is probably something we will need to recreate. To reserve.
That could be a roundup post as well, couldn't it? Like reviews of the best paleo subscription boxes, for example.
Love it. Yes, absolutely. 10 best subscription boxes, 50 best paleo subscription boxes, whatever. And then redirect this and retain that link juice. Contact, of course, we'll have this contact page anyway. And a couple of more posts probably down the line, but nothing too major. The majority are towards the homepage, which is good. And to go back on the site, this is what it used to be. As you can see, we have a card, checkout, So your standard e-commerce type of website, they have products. Typically, most of them were paleo-friendly. However, they did have keto with the ketogenic kind of products as well. But they also had a blog. And the blog was slightly confusing, but they did have like recipes, paleo recipes, and a couple of other stuff, bits and bobs on the paleo diet, but nothing too major. The main kind of focus was selling subscription boxes, products, and other stuff. And this is kind of what it looks like: gluten-free, dairy-free, grain-free. And actually, I'm going to jump back on the kind of strategies just so you can have an understanding of the paleo diet before I move on. Okay, so I just want to show you kind of a statistic here that apparently between 1 and 3 million Americans are on the paleo diet, which is 1% of the population, and this is just the U.S. And apparently, the U.S. is kind of the biggest, kind of country, if you will, that has the most paleo diet people, if you will, and that's good because remember,
you wouldn't think so if you went to a Walmart.
No. So if you think about it, typically you would want to see traffic from the US because obviously your traffic US pays the best, and that's good that most Americans are, well, not most Americans, but the majority of people on the planet are Americans that are on the paleo diet, and that's good. And I just want to show you quickly here what we're talking in terms of numbers. So 20, that much number I'm going to try and say. Average monthly searches on the paleo diet. There are over 15 million posts on Instagram with hashtag paleo, and almost 2 million posts with the hashtag paleo diet. And the UK is kind of expanding on the diet as well, but it's not as popular as the US, but it's growing. Paleo diet is to gain the average popularity in the UK that it experiences in the countries like America. So here's what the paleo diet consists of: meat, eggs, fish and seafood, nuts and seeds, vegetables and fruit, and certain oils. Nothing processed. Now, you can't have sunflower oil. You can have quality olive oil, for example. But it's very kind of clean, very clean diet, if you will. And it's very kind of primitive. This is basically what hunter-gatherers and people used to get and eat really back in the day. It excludes wheat and gluten, aka bread, cake, etc. Sorry, no cake. Sugar, dairy, so no yogurts, nothing. Soft drinks, legumes like beans, lentils, chickpeas, processed foods, and bye-bye McDonald's. So no McDonald's, you can't have that. The strategy is quite straightforward, is educating people on the paleo diet. Because the paleo diet as a whole, as we've just seen, particularly in the UK, is growing, people will be interested on the paleo diet. So I feel like we should do beginners guides and beginners like shopping lists for beginners, paleo foods, paleo dinners, everything you can think of as a beginner that has questions about the paleo diet. Everything should be covered from A to Z. And then we go into the listicle types of articles, for example, 10 best paleo dinner recipes. And I want to jump quickly just to show you kind of what this beautiful lady is doing. Sorry, momshealth.com. So she's basically done a roundup post, and she's getting nearly 1,000 Ahrefs traffic just this post. So she has 21 best easy paleo dinner recipes. This is a straight roundup post that we will be doing. And here's what it looks like. Spicy spaghetti squash. Don't spaghetti squash this is not real pasta. It's from a kind of a vegetable like a butternut squash, and yeah, it's basically around the post. I'm not going to go into it any further.
Wait. Go to the bottom. Does it have a recipe?
Adam, I was going to ask you: is this similar approach?
I don't know. It's a similar approach to what we talked about, Mike. But if we go to the right to the bottom, does it have a recipe card? Because if it doesn't, then we've also got a little hack that we can use to probably get more traffic. Oh, she does.
She does.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
She does. But remember, she's only DR14, guys. We're DR15. So if she's performing so well with kind of roundup posts for the paleo diet, this is kind of giving me quite a lot of reassurance that this is doable, guys. All right. So I'm going to go back. So listicle types of articles we've covered, and the monetization can come from display adverts, of course, but also supplements and paleo products. For example, for beginners, I feel like maybe they could require certain vitamins or paleo-friendly, collagen, paleo-friendly, some products related to that, maybe snacks, very similar to what these guys did anyway. They had like paleo chocolate and other stuff. And then we could also make a course or ebook for all paleo haven, an ebook for paleo beginners and recipes. This is another way we can monetize, and we can even at some point consider subscription boxes as well and do exactly what these guys did. But for me, to begin with, I would explore recipes, roundup posts, and informational kind of pieces of content on the paleo diet itself. Okay, I just want to show you quickly kind of what I have put together in terms of what there is out there on the paleo diet that's fairly low kind of competition. Mediterranean diet versus the paleo. As you can see, it's getting some decent volume and only keyword difficulty of 4. So this is keywords we should explore as well. And whole diet, paleo diet versus whole 30. This is a type of diet. Whole 30 is a type of diet I haven't really looked at it too. And is paleo diet gluten free? Like this is going to fall nicely into what I was saying about the beginners kind of posts. So yeah, this is kind of a low competition keywords that I think we should take a look at as well. All right, so first competitor, yourmeatguy.com. And if you're wondering why have I chosen meat, because if you remember, paleo guys eat meat, eggs, fish, and other stuff. So I thought to separate the competitors based on meat, fish, etc. So the first one is meat. Only DR 4.2. And here's what they're covering. First and foremost, they only have 61 posts. And in my opinion, 61 posts for 15,000, I'd say it's pretty decent, in my opinion. And here's what they're covering. Can you eat pork medium rare, chicken thighs versus drumsticks, raw chicken smell? Very interesting types of content just about meat, which is perfect because the paleo guys eat meat, primarily meat, loads of meat. So this is a great kind of place for us to start. And too many of these guys, sorry. So yeah, this is a competition in terms of meat. Very interesting. And there are informational pieces of content as well that I feel like it's good. I think if it was me, I'd probably have like meat recipes, fish recipes, or just recipes with a drop down of potentially certain categories. But either way, I feel like we could do a lot on meat and fish and kind of do informational pieces of content. Like this is interesting stuff. What cut is pork belly? Very educational stuff that I feel like we should explore for sure. And this side I think is doing well, considering they only have 61 posts. Okay, and the next one is slightly higher authority, and these guys are just fish. So that is why I like to kind of break it down to two main categories for your main kind of protein. They're generating 36,000 according to Ahrefs, and here's what they're covering. So everything to do with fish. Just like these guys with everything to do with meat, these guys have everything to do with fish and seafood. Fish oven temperature, how to reheat crab legs, very, very decent kind of volume. Crab legs near me, crab legs meat. Apparently, that's what their piece of content is. And just the volume is pretty incredible, in my opinion. Oven crab legs, how much shrimp per person. Very interesting content, in my opinion. How to dough scallops. Maybe you want to have a paleo scallop dinner and you have frozen scallops and you want to know how to dough them and cook them. So great. This guy has the featured snippet as well, which is great. Yeah, just everything fish and seafood that you can think of. This was the site. And yeah, I feel like there's opportunities for the paleo diet. And as we've just seen based on the statistics, it's a growing diet and it's not just a fad. More and more people go paleo. So yeah, this is me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think the way you lay that out is really good. You could go line by line for fish and meat, and then the grains and all that. But then in addition, there's those services in America that are very popular, like HelloFresh and some other basically like home dinner kits they mail you on a subscription service. They're fairly expensive and they have really good paying affiliate programs. And so I know they even offer things like paleo options, and you can recommend those. I mean, there's a lot of good affiliate opportunities in there as well.
That's a really, really good point. We do have HelloFresh here in the UK. Mm-hmm. I didn't actually think, because you can make it very similar to what we did with the movies. You want to make a meal, or you fancy a really nice paleo dinner, and we can make a post or something and then link HelloFresh. There they have an amazing, paleo easy meals delivered to your door. And we can make a cut. I didn't think of that. Thank you. That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah. There's also the meat services that will mail you, the grass-fed beef. If you're in that diet and you're looking to get back to the paleo ways and hunter-gatherer times, you're looking for cleaner food options. There's probably a lot of good programs you could recommend in there.
This is noted. I might. Yeah, this is great. Thank you. That's a great idea, actually. Yeah.
What do you think of the movie site, Mike? Should we be as excited as we are about it? Do you think?
You know, it definitely piqued my interest. I'm actually also interested in the paleo one because of my wife has this diet site that she does, and it's similar in the whole just no processed foods, no sugar, basically meat, veggies, nuts, fruits, things like that. But anyway, the movie site, I want to look into that and see what is ranking for a lot of those terms and who are the players in that. Because when I think of movie reviews, I just go Rotten Tomatoes. That's just where my head
Yeah.
goes. But there's a lot of room in the SERPs for other things, and I feel like they found a good hole in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely something worth exploring. I think. If you don't grab it, I'll grab it.
Right. How many likes are we at? I think we are at 33 likes. We literally need 2 more likes, guys, to do our giveaway. So, I mean, if you're not going to give us the like, give Eleanor the like, give Percy the cat the like. Just someone hit 2 more people.
Give the
Hit the
cat's jacket a like.
Yeah, anything. Just give 2 more likes.
I have a quick question, Mike, on
Yeah.
to go back on the zero search volume Ahrefs keywords. Have you ever played around with Answer the Public? Kind of.
Yes, a lot.
You have.
Yeah.
What's your
Mhm.
experience with that?
It's a good. I use it often when I want to look for like people also ask questions, basically, and just get a list of them. I think it's good, but the problem I run into with all of the keyword research is just the time, really. So I go to people also ask, I get this huge spreadsheet or graph of questions, and then I go through it. I manually kind of look at them, look at the results. So I honestly feel like I have more ideas and there's more methods than I have time,
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I started to play around with it recently, actually, and I just found it because sometimes I get stuck. You know how sometimes you need a seed to like get you to get some ideas, and I find that this Answer the Public really kind of gives me ideas, and it kind of helps me build my keyword research list.
Yes.
Because it's interesting for me to add specific, because you know how it separates it from day, how we when you click on data, it separates it like into tabs on specific day I have, and it just gives me ideas, and I've actually ranked for some posts primarily off Answer the Public. So I just wondered whether you've had much success with it.
Yeah, I have. I think they extract all the people also ask questions on a query. I believe that's what they do, but I'm not sure how their software
Yeah.
works. But there's another website that's similar that I use also called relatedwords.com. And I basically will take my seed keywords and I'll throw it in there, and it'll give you like just other related words to that seed keyword that maybe I haven't thought of yet. So if I put in there, grilling or smoking or barbecue, it'll give me a lot of other things around that'll just kind of hopefully prompt new ideas to start doing keyword research around.
How was it called again?
Related words.
Related words. Great, I'll check that out. Thank you.
Sure.
Awesome. I don't know if you ever remember, there was another tool which was like keyword overload. Like I don't really use it much anymore. We used to use a lot called keyword shitter back in the day.
That was a popular one a few years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and you put the one in and it would just give you hundreds, sometimes thousands, depending on how long you leave it. And then eventually it would run and it would just give you stuff like Google, YouTube, like just stupid stuff. But yeah, that was also good if you just let it run for 10 minutes or so. I think they rebranded the keyword sheeter instead now, rather than
they
being
did, yeah. There was another tool that I use, and it's a free website you can go to. There's a premium version, but their free version is called Exploding Topics. You may have heard of it. But basically, it'll just give you, it'll aggregate Google Trends, and it'll look at what things are starting to just pop and what areas and what niches. And I use that just to find maybe new products or ideas or something within my niche that's starting to gain some steam. And I use that as a keyword research starting point too.
Thank you. This is definitely another one I'll check out.
While you're on Google Trends, I installed a Chrome extension recently as well, which is awesome. It's called Glimpse. It's free. It's a freemium. You get, I think, 10 or 15 searches per month. And with Google Trends, you only just get that, like, it's a 1 to 100, like, in terms of how popular something is. There's no real search volume there. This overlay search volume, So you can actually see like what the actual search volume increase is in terms of real numbers. And it also pulls in lots of way more related topics and questions that are related to the whatever you're looking at trending. And then you can click those and you can see the search volume for those and see how they're increasing over time. And I think if you combine that with the exploding in topics kind of angle, you can find stuff which is really up and coming and see what that search volume is. Because it's sometimes hard to, in trends, you might see something go from 50 to 100, but you've no idea is that on 10 searches a month or is that on a
that
million?
metric is very hard to understand, like what scale it's at. So I understand either it's consistent or it peaks and valleys, but what scale and volume are we talking about? And I never really know the answer to that with Google Trends, but I still use it all the time just to get an idea of seasonalities.
But this Chrome extension gives you that. It overlays the actual search volume, which is great.
That's awesome. I just wrote it down on my phone because I'm going to go.
I have just wrote it down.
Right. Okay, let's do the giveaway. We've got over our 35 likes, so thank you, everyone. If you want to be in the draw, say something in the comments right now. It can be anything. And then I don't know how Mark does this bit, so I'll ask my lovely marketing assistant, Chris, to pull together everyone's name, that text, that put in here, and then he's going to give it to me, and then we're going to do the Wheel of Fortune style name then. So
exciting. We haven't had one in a while, so it's...
Yeah, well, it's because we did one yesterday and I didn't know how to do the name bit. So
well, we didn't have enough likes.
Oh, Chris has already collected all the names. There we go. Even better.
Chris he's ahead of the game.
Yeah. Right. Let me share my screen. Share my screen. Window names. Here we go. And I'm also going to get some bit of music going. We have a bit of chill hop today, do you reckon?
Yes. That's it. That's good.
See, I knew Chris was ahead of the game because he's now giving me more names to add in. Okay, I think that's everyone. Let me make sure he's not typing. Nope. So let's do it. Where do you press? Oh, just a spin. Let's see who's going to win some niche website builder merch.
Ooh. Oh, it's going to be Kate.
Kate edged him out.
Well done.
Well done, Kate. If you want to reach out to the team, no, D, we can't let Percy select. Percy can't select the names. I don't know how that would work. But congratulations, Kate. How do I stop sharing? Eleanor, awesome age domain teardowns. Thank you very much. Really insightful, and hopefully give people, even if they're not interested in these ones specifically, give people an idea of what we look at when we look at age domains and a little insight into the thoughts and strategies that go behind them. And hopefully they can apply that to other spaces they're looking at, or just give them ideas around other things they're looking at. And Mike, really appreciate you being a guest. I think you've shared some nuggets. I think loads of people enjoyed this. Where can people, I know we've said it at the start, but where's the best place for people to follow you? If they've got questions, you want to reach out to you, how do they follow you?
Yeah, sure. So obviously my YouTube channel, Below Average Blogger, just search it up, it'll show up. And then I have belowaverageblogger.com, which I have not been very active with, but I do get emails there and I do respond to emails on that website. And you can always just drop a comment in a video, and I usually reply to all of them, or I try to. But I really do enjoy just new faces on the channel and talking with people, because I learn from everybody who's on the channel. It's not one of these things where I'm the guru, because I'm definitely not. I just like sharing what I'm doing and learning from everybody with me. So it's been a lot of fun.
Amazing. Awesome.
Thank you. I really learned a lot from you, Mike. Thanks for all the tips.
Good. That's one of the first times I've been able to do that. So I'll take it.
It's been a great stream. Thanks both. And I will back to normal next week. Mark is back in for the Thursday show next week. He's not here for the Wednesday show though, and I think we are on Doug's channel next week. I don't know what the topic is yet, but the topic for our stream next week is we did a case study a couple of months back where we were showing how we put in a ton of content. I think we'd done 500 or 600 pieces of content. We'd redirected in 4 age domains. Fast forward just 2 months now, and we're now at about 800 pieces of content, 6 age domains, and the site's just been accepted into Mediavine. So I'm going to give everyone an update and the site's doubled in traffic in the last 2 months, so I think it's worth sharing.
That's exciting, man. He
Yeah.
has 800,000 words on one or across 6 domains.
Just on the one site. So this is 800 posts. So there's just shy of 1 million words on that one site now. We've been working on it for 8 months. So it was launched in December, 8 months old, just qualified for Mediavine. A ton of effort and resources gone into it, but now it's finally starting to really pay off and really start motoring. Like traffic's doubled in the last 2 months. So
very cool.
Yeah, excited to give an update, excited to show where the trajectory is looking, and also what we are doing next, because we're not slowing down. We've just finished adding another, I think, 200 something posts. We've got another 350,000 words of keyword research done, and they also want to add another 750,000 words during our Black Friday sale that we have every year. So we're going to be adding at least another 1 million words to this site before the end of the year is out. So it's going to be really sweet to watch this site, follow it, track it along as a case study, give updates every couple of months, and next week is where we're going to give our 8-month update.
Very cool. I did notice one of your domains that I had followed for a long time was the Poor Folk Bows. Remember that one you had?
Yeah, I think so.
It was about like archery equipment, and I just was looking for it yesterday, and I found that the site that had acquired it, I found their acquire page where they talked about it. And anyway, it was a very, very smart move by that site because it fit into their niche perfect. I was wondering if you had feedback from them since they acquired it and how it had gone for them.
I don't think so. I can't remember that one specifically, but I think we were just involved in the 301 redirect and acquisition page setup on that one, I think. But that's interesting because I now want to go back and have a look at that's affected him, what's going on.
I was curious how they were going to play that because the guy who owned it was very active in social accounts like Reddit, and he had kind of a following for his bow making and all that. And that's kind of why I stayed away from it. I wasn't sure if I would have that imposter syndrome of all these guys who liked this one web guy, and I took over his site and I wasn't sure what to do with it. But anyway, they did a good job on their acquire page saying, hey, we acquired Joe's site. Here's a link to all the content he made. He worked really hard on it. But anyway, I thought they merged it very well.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have to find out who on the team did that because I wasn't involved in that one specifically. So someone from the team did a good job and I want to give them a pat on the back.
Yeah, no, it looked great. And it looked like a natural acquisition. It looked good.
Amazing. That's good. Awesome. Well, I think that's a wrap, to be honest. It's been a great show. I think we've all learned a little bit. I think the audience has found this really awesome. And thanks very much, Mike. And thanks, Eleanor.
Absolutely. Super fun. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.